The following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
This is it. 7 months of racing has led up to this, the final race of the 2014 IndyCar Series season, the Verizon INDYCAR World Championship, live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. Dan Cuso comes into this race up by just 1 point over teammate Ben Tennyson. Auto Rocket is 2 points behind Cuso. Tommy Pickles is 9 points behind despite his lone win on the year, and Randy Cunningham is down 23 points to Cuso. Phineas Flynn, Sam Schmidt's star driver, is 102 points back. He could still take the title if he wins and leads a lap. If any one of them wins here tonight, that driver will take home the 2014 Verizon IndyCar Series Championship. And we welcome you inside our Quicken Loans ESPN Pit Studio. Alongside Scott Goodyear and Rusty Wallace, I'm Marty Reed. Welcome to Championship Saturday night here in Las Vegas. We're not wasting any time here, so let's head down trackside for the command. Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome our Grand Marshal, skateboarding legend Tony Hawk. Drivers, start your engines. 34,900 horsepower engines fire up. Engines have fired here in Las Vegas. Now I want to welcome in Scott Goodyear and Rusty Wallace. Guys, this is it. 300 miles separate us from crowning a champion in 2014. We take a look at our GoDaddy.com rules of racing. As per usual, the drivers get that push to pass. It's a button on the steering wheel, gives you a 12-second burst of speed, takes 10 seconds to recharge, and the drivers can use it 20 times during the race. In all seriousness, this is a 3-stop race. The strategy will change during the course of these 300 miles, but theoretically, you can make it to the end on 3 stops. The drivers have been saying that they expect Indy 500 type speeds. We saw 224 for the pole speed. We don't see speeds like that, except for the 500. Very racy track here in Las Vegas. We expect to see 3 wide, maybe 4 wide racing here in Vegas. One thing above all else: patience. 34 cars, pick and choose. It's gonna have to get to the end if you want to win. Mark, we have 8 on board cams for you tonight. Let's look at them from front to back. Randy Cunningham will start on pole once teammate Marco Diaz drops to the rear. He's got the Verizon onboard camera. Dan Cuso in the Ganassi number 9 car starts second. He's got the Target onboard cam. The Honda onboard cam belongs to Ben Tennyson. He starts third. Tommy Pickles has the Shell V-Power onboard camera. He'll roll off 9th. Auto Rocket starts 11th with the Dr. Pepper onboard cam. Todd Daring has the Verizon Wireless onboard cam. He'll start 19th. Alvin Seville starts 27th with the DHL onboard camera, and Marco Diaz, the 34th driver on the grid, has Chevrolet onboard camera. As they come down the front straightaway, pace cars already drop to the pits, and the final race for the championship is green. Well, we're already seeing 3 wide coming out of 2. There's Dan Cuso in the 9, Randy Cunningham in the 12, trying to feel each other out a little bit, trying to avoid any early trouble. Talk with both those guys. They know they have to be there at the end. They have a plan. When you put that foot on the gas and take the green, all you want to do is pass the cars in front of you. Rusty Wallace. Only plan these drivers have is try not to make a mistake. That's a big mess of cars, and everyone's trying to find their rhythm. Marty Reed. Right now, it's Randy Cunningham leading Dan Cuso, Ben Tennyson, Timmy Turner, and Tommy Pickles. Further back, just pick your favorite driver because they are literally wheel to wheel, side by side. This is one of those places where you have to make sure you're spotter and you are working in total tandem. Randy Cunningham. Looking real strong here, guys. Marty, read of your screen. There you see the 9 of Dan Cuso as he trails behind the 12. As they run right now, Randy Cunningham would win the title. Things starting to sort out behind them. Sparks behind them, full fuel load right now. Tire pressure will start to build as we get deeper into the run. Nothing to be concerned about at this time. Checking in on that battle for 4th. That's Ash Ketchum and Tommy Pickles. 4th and 5th place changing hands through turn 2. I tell you who's really impressive right now, that's Todd Daring. He's picking up right where he left off at Kansas. Mark on board now with Ash Ketchum, Auto Rocket closing beside him. Oh, touching right there. These are not stock cars, they don't do well when they rub side to side against each other. But if you listen to that, they touched yet they didn't let off the gas, they just kept right on going. That was Ish Taylor right there. He made a good move to avoid making that a 3-car pileup. He was on the worst end of that, being on the high side. Nothing's changed up front, it's still Randy Cunningham in the lead, but boy, he doesn't know what he's missing out on behind him. He does know what he's missing. He's glad he's not in the middle of it. Johnny Test is dropping back, he's now in the 22nd position. And look who's passing him. It's the one of Marco Diaz. This is his IndyCar debut here at Las Vegas. He'll run the full schedule next season for Team Penske. He now runs 21st, started last on the grid, going for $5 million. Points as they run right now, Cunningham's favored. Battle for second. That's between teammates, Dan Cuso. In the 9 has it, Ben Tennyson in the 10 wants it. Rust, what's really interesting there is that Cuso could pull himself up closer to Cunningham, but he's not. Remember, when you get close to the car that's in front of you, that dirty air that comes off the car really takes the downforce off the car, maybe lightens up the front of the car, won't turn as well as it wants to. We call that understeer. If the car can work well with other cars in front of you, that's great. If not, use the tools in the cockpit, the weight jacker and the adjusting bar, maybe make it a little better. Looking for Marco Diaz, started 34th, he's made up 14 positions. You're on board with him, and one thing he was worried about was all that dirty air created by 34 cars. The position he's in right now gives him an advantage because everyone else has opened the air up in front of him. Oh, we got trouble. Contact and a huge crash up in turn number 2. Multiple cars involved. Oh my, looks like Marco Diaz may be involved in it, and Rusty, you and I talked about it this morning during the drive-in. All these cars, the speed, the chance for what they call the big ones. What happens in conditions like that when you're 300 yards behind that? You cannot stop these cars. Only option you have is to try and avoid it, which was impossible, and what a mess that was. Red flag is out here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway here at lap number 12, and from high above, you can see the carnage. We're gonna sort this out. We know at least 8 cars were involved, maybe more. It's only lap 13 and we've already had a huge crash. Side by side. Marty Reed, back here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, under a red flag situation after a gruesome 15-car wreck on lap 13. The cars have been stopped on pit lane. Most everyone has been checked and released from the infield care center. They are okay. We are still wondering about the condition of drivers like that of Mordecai, Jonesy Garcia, Otto Rocket and Timmy Turner. Vince Welch is with Marco Diaz, one of the drivers who was involved in the wreck. Vince, Marco Diaz was making his IndyCar debut here tonight. He was running 20th before getting collected in that wreck. You were telling me that this reminded you of when the series was last here in 2011. It did. It reminded me of when Jackie and I were here for the championship race that season. I was actually there with Jackie for Dan. Weldon's second Indy 500 win that year. This was before I met Star, too. I got to meet Dan Weldon, nicest guy both on and off the track. He was my favorite driver, he was Jackie's favorite driver, so it was a dream come true for us to meet the man they called Lionheart. He even invited us to help out atop the pit box. If that's not a testament to how nice he was, I don't know what is. He invited us back for Las Vegas, met his family and team. Jackie and I watched the race from atop Weldon's pit box. When we saw the wreck happen, I immediately tuned to Dan's radio channel and asked if he was all right about 5 or 6 times. When I didn't get an answer, I asked Jackie to head out onto the track to try and flag down the Delphi safety crew while I flipped to Alex Taliani's channel. I asked him to stop over on the backstretch, check on Dan, make sure he's all right, make sure he didn't undo his helmet and get out. Tags got back to me and said, "Marco, you better get to the infield care center, it doesn't look good." We went over to the infield care center and we caught Charlie Kimball's eye for a split second, and that's when we realized that it didn't look too good. We met up with Buddy Rice and he told us that they fired up the chopper and were taking Dan to University Medical Center. That's when Jackie and I realized things weren't going to end well. Wasn't until around 6 p.m. that we found out that Dan Weldon was no longer with us. The racing world lost a great driver, a champion. As for Jackie and I, we lost our favorite driver and a friend. Coming back here and getting involved in the wreck only brought back those horrible, horrible memories. I hope Jonesy, Mordecai, Otto and Timmy are all right. At least they're going by ground to the hospital this time instead of a driver being airlifted. So that's a good sign. But not the way I wanted to break into the IndyCar series. Guess we'll see what happens next season. Obviously this track the site of some traumatic memories for Marco Diaz. He's now seen both sides of a major wreck. He got out all right. His inspiration for getting into the series, Dan Weldon, wasn't as lucky. We in the racing world were shocked by his passing and we miss him every day. We are approaching nearly 6 hours into this red flag period for a horrific crash in Turn 2 on lap 12 here in Las Vegas for the Verizon IndyCar World Championships. There's Mark Miles. IndyCar is very sad to announce that Mordecai has passed away from unsurvivable injury. Our thoughts and prayers are with his friends and family today. IndyCar, its drivers and team owners, has decided to end the race. There will be a 10-lap salute, which will take place in approximately 10 minutes. Marty Reed, from IndyCar President and CEO Mike Miles. Mordecai has been pronounced dead from unsurvivable injuries as a result of the wreck on lap 12. A 10-lap tribute will take place in about 10 minutes from now. We'll be right back for that salute. This is the Verizon IndyCar series on ABC. And here we are, everyone lined up along pit lane, the field of 19 cars that made it through the wreck, getting ready for the 10-lap salute in honor of Mordecai. As they begin these 10 laps, we're just going to sit back and reflect with you. So the 2014 Verizon IndyCar Series season has come to a close, but not the way either of us expected or wanted. A champion has been crowned, but there's no celebration, and for all of us, just an emptiness as we lost a young and promising racer in Mordecai. I'm often asked why I sign off, till we meet again, because goodbye is always so final. Goodbye, Mordecai.